All right, we're starting anyway.
All right.
No, I really don't care about playing with Android 21. Actually, I don't know. Like, I haven't really been able to
Yeah.
get too involved with the game. I don't know about you or anything,
I'll
but
get you on that.
uh, yeah.
We share this for you.
So we got MJ in here. Tell us if you can hear both of us, so we can know. We have to know.
I like how as soon as we start the stream, my AC kicks on. But it's funny because my AC is like right under my desk. so not only do I get cold, but you hear it. So it's kind of funny.
It's all good. So what we were talking about before this, and you know what? Can I, MJ? I'm just gonna, if you don't mind, I'm gonna throw this out to the crowd. Do you wanna throw this out to the crowd? Like what were we
Yeah,
talking about, like
sure.
right before this? I want to ask, like, who here has played all through Dragon Ball Fighters and has really appreciated the game for what it is, like in terms of like a solo player tournament or story mode type of video game. In the same vein that like the original Budokai 1 and or 1, 2, and 3 were. Uh, because I was telling MJ, like, I'm not really sure if I appreciate it all that much.
No, and I just want to put this over. I don't think the gameplay is bad.
Oh,
I love the gameplay. I love the intros and stuff like that. My issue with it, bro, and I think a lot of people could probably attest to this that are watching this. The story is dreadful. Till this day, I have not finished the story yet. And I know a lot of other people who play this game religiously online
present,
and have not finished the story yet.
present. Yeah, like I can't, like. Look, I said this probably in another one of my streams, probably a stream when I was actually playing the dang game. I really like going on and playing the arcade mode or the tournament modes or rank or whatever. But for me, uh, the story mode, I just can't get through. And like my thought is like I've been burnt on this once, man. Like I can't remember the name. I think it was like Mortal Kombat, like Annihilation. Although I know that's the movie, but it was one of them where the story mode was essentially like a 9 hour, uh, I guess, training manual for the entire game. Like, oh, do this combo or you can't win. And it's like, but I already took out the dude. I can't win. And you have to keep doing it over and over and over again. But they keep promising you something that's going to happen in the future. Like you're going to get past this tutorial method of this tournament or the story mode, and it just never happens. And that's one of the reasons I stopped playing the game. In my
Yeah.
personal opinion, is like it never gets past that point. And look, that's not to say that like Xenoverse was better, but it's just weird to me because I want it to be better. Like I want this to be better. I want Xenoverse to have at least some sway in the way that this game was created. Like if it had something to do with strategy. And I'm not saying Xenoverse had anything to do with strategy, but at the very least, you had a situation where you had to do something for the story mode and instantaneously at the very beginning avoid supers from everyone like in the field. Like it could be like 1 on 3 and everyone's throwing supers every which way. like
Yeah.
and it got me so frustrated and so hot-headed that I think I spent, like, at least on the original universe, like maybe like 10 hours trying to beat like one freaking mission, to the point where it's like I know I'm going to do this. I know this isn't skill based. I know all this other stuff, but I'm going to finish this because they challenge me, and then they completely tear me down every single step of the way until I feel like I have to prove myself to some crazy, uh, you know, uh, computer AI game gods or something. I'm going to
I
like
mean,
I'm going to show
oh,
you.
go. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and compare fighters to Xenoverse because I'm already a power scaler, bro. People already have the pitchforks out for me, so I'm not gonna dare compare that. But it's funny though. People are kind of jumping back to Xenoverse, or at least plan on jumping back to Xenoverse too, because if you remember a couple days ago, new characters DLCs coming out: Ultra Instinct Goku, Jiren, stuff like that. The Android 17 model, Super version, all that stuff's coming in DLC, and a lot of people, man, they're gonna be jumping back to that. That Ultra Instinct Goku's looking pretty clean, looking
I
clean.
Xenoverse has always been pretty awesome. Like I know a lot of people love fighters, and I don't intend to like not stop playing fighters. I have a lot of fun playing it myself, but I mean, the selection of Xenoverse and the potential of what Xenoverse 3 could be is still pretty exciting to me. Uh, the thing is, and this is just me, I think that we have Xenoverse and Fighters, and twice now, probably three times if you want to count Xenoverse, Xenoverse 2, and Fighters. But three times now, we've been offered in a video game format a better story, or at least an alternative story, than just simply seeing the Raditz, Saiyan arc, go to Namek, fight Frieza, fight Cell, fight the Boo in the Boo saga,
Yeah,
and going into GT and or Super or whatever you're gonna do. They've offered a different alternative, and I think that that's one of the things that drives these games in such a way. Like, what is Toa and Mira? What is Android 21, and why is Android 16 back, and all this other stuff? But they don't ever deliver, and I think that's one of the biggest issues I have with this particular game, with Xenoverse and all this other stuff. I don't really care, and it's weird, but I've kind of outgrown myself here. I don't really care about the gameplay dynamics. I don't really care about the competitiveness. I want a story that will captivate my interest. And I'm sorry to say, as you said before, and I'm sure a lot of people have found, that Fighters doesn't grab my interest, honestly.
no, I get you, man. You're an old man. I see you. You're what,
No, like
55?
I'm
I'm
totally. I'll pledge, pledge my heart and hope to die or whatever. Like, I am an old man here. Like, it's so weird. Like, I used to love playing video games, and now I've just kind of gone out of my way to be like, I don't really want it. I don't really want all of this stuff.
Yeah, with fighters fixing the servers, most people who stick with fighters competitions, it's going to be the FGC. It's going to be people who want to play online and fight against other people. The story's not going to be a driving factor, at least with not how repetitive it is. I don't think people are going to be screaming to play that over again.
Mhm.
But
Uh, but let's get into the chat here, if you don't mind. Real to real, everyone, overall, what do you rate Dragon Ball Super on a scale of 1 to 10? MJ, you want to take that question, or do you want me to take it first?
I'll give it a 5 out of 10. Average show for me, but it's still very entertaining to watch.
So I know that I've been critical of this show. I mean, you and I have talked enough. Like, no matter what anyone thinks, I think about this show. Like, I have been critical about it. There's stuff I think they could have done differently. I think it hasn't been well put together, but I would still give it like an 8 out of 10. And look,
He said that, not me.
okay. I just want to preface my point here. I think that, and I've said this before recently, Super is a show outside of any Dragon Ball property that I've ever been exposed to. And this goes for everything, not just Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, Dragon Ball, Xenoverse, Xenoverse 2, Fighters, all this other stuff, which I have been able to make a platform around and talk to people as if you guys are my friends, and actually interact with you guys and answer your questions, and you guys and I ask you guys questions and you answer me in the comments and all this other stuff. None of that was possible when I was a kid, and I wouldn't even had the guts or conviction to do this as a kid if I was even given the chance to. So Super is special in that opinion. Super is special because of everything that it's ever done in order to push the story forward. I'm incredibly excited and passionate about it. That's why we talk about it every single day. And I have to say, if I rate that outside experience from what they're actually showing week to week, it's an 8 out of 10 series, if not like 9 out of 10, honestly. there's a lot of problems with it, but I've met friends here. Like, I met really lifelong friends here doing this stuff, talking about this one freaking series. It's how we connect, and then we actually become friends. And like, that is, to me, the best thing about here.
I actually wanted to go off on a little tangent here, so forgive me, real. It's your channel, so I'm gonna ask for your permission first. Is that all right?
Please.
Okay. So Super has issues. Super has problems. There's inconsistencies, right?
Hmm.
However, though, let's say I were to go on Twitter, right? And I were to put out, I like Super more than Z. People are going to come at my neck. Now, I don't know if it's just the anime community or if it's just the Dragon Ball community, but you don't get this that much in other realms. So, what I mean by this is when I say I like Super more than Z, I'm not saying I do. I'm just saying if I were to say it, that doesn't mean I'm saying it's a better show or a better told story or a more consistent story or an outstanding story compared to Z. I'm just saying I like it more. A comparison would be I think Big Trouble in Little China is one of the best movies I've seen that come out of the 80s. But if you do your research, that movie bombed when it first came out. It was horrible at the box office. And it ain't no damn aliens. It ain't no damn Raging Bull. It ain't no fucking rocket movie. Excuse my language. You get my point here?
Hmm.
It doesn't matter if the story is worse. It doesn't matter if there's plot holes. It doesn't matter if there's inconsistencies in the writing. The point is, I'm saying I liked it. Okay? I know there's better told stuff out there, but I'm saying I like it. And people have this weird idea where when you say, oh, I like Super more than Z or I like Super more than Dragon Ball, they're like, how can you say that? Ultra Instincts and a butt pull, or this is that, or this doesn't make sense. Why is Goku going blue against? I don't care. Get out of my face with that noise, man. I'm saying I like the show. Get out of here. You know, if you like Z so much, go watch it. You know what I mean? My point is, I just don't understand that because in the movie community, and you know this, you can kind of get away with saying stuff like, "Oh, I like, Ferris Bueller's Day Off more than Raging Bull." Raging Bull being one of the most underrated but best told boxing movies out there in some people's eyes, right? It's like my point there is just because we say we're not saying it's the best told story in all of anime. That's all I'm saying.
And you know what? I think that's one of the things that people really, I guess I would say people really overlook is that it's okay to like things. It's okay to like Super for this, that, or the other. It's okay to not like it for a lot of reasons. I mean, I think, and that's the thing that always kind of gets me is that there's a lot of people here who'll be like, "Hey, you can't like this because it's bad, and you should realize it's bad because you cover it every day." It's like, well, yeah, I realize it's bad. Like, I realize when it's bad and when it's actually good. But the truth is that it's a mixture of both. I mean, it's a culmination of everything that's good and bad about it. And Super has done some really amazing things. I mean, especially with the last couple episodes, you cannot argue with me that these are not some of the best episodes that we've ever gotten in Dragon Ball Super, but the entire series thus far. And so, like, how can you not weigh those in relation to the rest of the series? I mean, seeing Vegeta fight Toppo, seeing Vegeta go up against Jiren when he has no more power left to actually even turn into a Super Saiyan. We've never gotten to see that before. That's amazing. Like, we've never gotten to see Vegeta or anyone else so unbelievably exhausted that they couldn't possibly even turn into Super Saiyan. We've gotten to see that a lot in Dragon Ball Super, actually.
Yeah,
And it's like it just happens to coalesce with my worldview right now. I mean, Dragon Ball Super came around at the right time and the right avenue when I decided to do the right thing in my life to give me energy to like get up day to day and not only do like my job and schoolwork and all this other stuff, but also do this, do Dragon Ball content on a day-to-day basis. And that's the one thing I absolutely resent about all of this. If I could just be candid here, and it's my channel, I could be candid. I think that it's crazy how much negativity we get simply for liking a show that we like. And I want people I feel like it's worth saying. It's like I like Dragon Ball Super. I don't cover it because I don't like it. I like it because I grew up with the original series. I grew up with Dragon Ball Z. I grew up with GT, and now this thing has come across me way after the fact when I'm way too old, when I should be not really focusing on it, but it was a nostalgia trip, and I got hooked into it with Battle of Gods and Fakatsu no F, and now with this story, and I want to see it done into its completion. I want to see what the next story is. I want to see what the next story after that is, because this is a story that can continue with so many iterations over the next couple of decades. It doesn't matter, at least in my opinion, who's shepherding it. Maybe it's Toriyama, maybe it's Toritaro, maybe it's someone else. Fingers crossed, someone else, please, someone else who has a really good way of storytelling and actually a good sense of it. But that's just me. Like, but in all honesty, like this thing has really pushed itself beyond the boundaries of what I thought a Dragon Ball series could be. Without this series, I wouldn't have met you. I wouldn't have met Danny. I wouldn't have met Donnie or Dino or Steven in the chat or Kevin or Brandon or anybody or Mark or Nathan or any of these other people that I know by name and that I respect on a deep personal level, not only for their work and dedication, but also their love and admiration for this franchise that brought us all together. And if you ask me just straight up, like, what is Dragon Ball Super mean to you? That's what it means. It's not just watching a show week to week to week. It's literally the experience and the friendships built and everything from the inception of this show. So that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you.
All right. Yeah, like I kind of got on a little tangent there. Excuse my voice.
I agree with what you're saying.
It's a little late here, so I'm trying to keep my voice down. So excuse the voice.
We have 51 people watching, by the way.
Car through. Oh wow, thanks guys. Car through. What's up, man? Like I'll mention you too, man. Car through's dojo as well. Like he's someone I've talked to outside of doing any real videos. I hope to work with him in the future.
I've heard that name before. I've seen him on Twitter.
Yeah, like there's a lot of potential there. There's a lot of passion and artistic ability and all this other stuff. It's like we just kind of coalesce and we help each other and we bring each other to the best of what we are and what we can be. It's the best thing about this particular group of people. And we get along and we try to be nice to each other and civil. It's awesome. So anyway, let's get some real questions in here. Because I'm gonna get anyway, who's your favorite character from another universe besides Universe 7 in the Tournament of Power? MJ?
From another universe? I would have to say I really like Dispo. Dispo was somebody that really kind of caught me by surprise. A lot of people didn't really take him seriously during the recruitment arc because he kind of got like people thought he was fodder because that big alien was like about to eat him. But in Tournament of Power, he really proved his worth. I mean, he has like some really alpha lines. I'll always remember that line when he faced off against Frieza. And Frieza's like talking trash to him, right? And he tells Frieza, "I see you're looking to die again." That was pretty alpha, bro. Like, Dispo was really a character that kind of came out of nowhere and I really liked. I like his cocky attitude. Reminded me of a Namek arc Vegeta. Not as serious as Saiyan arc Vegeta, but more of that cocky, I got the power. In his case, I'm cocky. I got the speed. You can't touch me. You can't hurt me. You know what I mean? I kind of like that about him. So he was pretty cool. Universe 11.
I think that, of course, everyone knows that I like Hit. So I'm gonna stay away from him. I think if you guys have watched my videos, and you can easily go back maybe just like a week's worth of videos, you could find me somewhere talking about why Hit deserves way more attention and why he should have been at the very end of the Tournament of Power and why they did him dirty, yada yada yada, but also gave him the best emotional payoff that any other character introduced in Dragon Ball Super has actually gotten, because all of that is true if you really sit down and think about it, at least in my opinion. Uh, the thing is here, though, that the thing is here that who is your favorite character outside of Universe 7, right? And I'm just
Yeah.
going to say, I know I'm going to get hate for this. It has to be Caulifla. Caulifla is, I know, like that. I like that. Sigh. Like, what are you actually talking about? You're going to get so much hate. But Caulifla is a really good character because I think she gets too much hate for the entirety of Dragon Ball Super. She allows people look at her and they see potential that is not deserved and feats that are not earned. Everything that she does, turning into Super Saiyan, turning into Super Saiyan 2, winning Super Saiyan 3 with the fusion, Super Saiyan 2 fusion of Kefla, being able to fight Ultra Instinct, Goku, Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken times 20 Goku, whatever, right? So there's a lot of stuff there that people feel isn't worth uh, importance for that character. But I have to say, I don't understand that. I don't believe that. I think it's unfair to say that she isn't worth the character that they built her around because essentially she is Goku. Like, maybe she has a different attitude about it, but she is the only character that the Tournament of Power actually introduced that is Goku. That Goku could see himself in and see the drive to actually get further beyond and push yourself to your outermost limits. Yes, she did approach that in a way that was a little bit more hostile and a little bit more more affirming than Goku did when he was a kid, or maybe throughout all of Dragon Ball Z, or even through GT or most of Super or anything else like that. But that's just to say that that was her character. It was the person that she wanted to be and that they wanted to portray her as. If you strip all of the attitude away, she's nothing short of preteen or teenager type of Goku, always wanting to get stronger, always focusing on everyone who's stronger than her. And I think that that type of character dynamic that really went head to head with Goku in the Tournament of Power and showed to Goku, I think, as you and I have argued before, MJ, was really important for Goku's character to get that affirmation that maybe there are people out there that you can be training and that you could be giving your knowledge to, making stronger with every fight and every lesson that you teach them. Maybe you should start training Oob, and that's going to help Goku actually get from the ending of Z through the Dragon Ball Super timeline to actually train with Oob. And Kefla, or not Kefla, but Caulifla is a very, very big part of that. And that's why I think we as a community should really revere her a little bit more.
No, yeah, we've done videos talking about her and how she's very important to the show, even though people may disregard her character overall. With Caulifla, it's one of those touchy subjects, bro, because in my honest opinion, I think a lot of people.
Sorry.
What was that?
I opened up a video, my bad.
Man, keep this PG, Mark. I don't know what I heard there for a second.
I don't want
But,
to, I don't want, it's
but
Steven's fault.
anyways, I think people are very. I think people are very hypocritical towards her because I'm not too sure if you remember this, but at the very beginning of Super, a lot of people going off of one of Toriyama's interviews had this idea that we were never going to see the Super Saiyan forms again because of how outdated they were,
Mm-hmm.
right? Yet she gets Super Saiyan 1 and 2, stuff that was achieved years ago, literally also in the show as well. And I mean, Super Saiyan 2 was awesome in the Cell arc, but even that lost its charm once Goku pulled it out, Vegeta pulled it out, and then like Gohan had it, and then Gotenks as well. So it's like I really did not get the whole rise of that. I mean, obviously SSJ3 would have been a different animal,
Mm-hmm.
but with those first two forms, I thought people were very hypocritical towards her and how she achieved them. Obviously, it happened quickly. I'm not gonna lie about that, but they're very outdated forms that yes, Goku and them still use, but they're very, very outdated forms when it comes to the show. You know what I mean? So again, I just didn't really see that being a huge issue. But again, it's a touchy subject, bro. I mean, talking about her can start a war, bro.
Well, I have a question here from Hatton. Uh, he says that I know people say that she's a prodigy, but how is she able to go Super Saiyan 2 so fast? And then he continues, but I mean, everyone in this show is a prodigy, and look at them, look at their death to get to Super Saiyan. So yeah, like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, what are your thoughts on Dragon Ball Super? Because I'm not going to say that this wasn't like a theme throughout all of Dragon Ball, because it really was, but Dragon Ball Super has taken it up to like 11 or 12 even, with expressing that there are characters like Frieza and 17 and ipso facto like Oob or Gohan or all these other people who have this vast amount of potential outside of Goku and Vegeta. And what I think Dragon Ball Super has done very subtly, but still has created logic for, is showcasing Goku and Vegeta to have absolutely no potential as compared to like everyone else in their immediate vicinity, everyone else that they've ever interacted with. I mean, Frieza, Cell, Boo, all these other people, if they had simply trained in the same way that Goku and Vegeta always train and push themselves to newer and better heights, could have easily stomped them like within minutes like of the situation. I mean, I don't know. Like I don't know much about. I'm sorry, I don't know much about like power scaling or anything, but like
it's a double-edged sword because from the previous tournament and the Universe 6 tournament, a lot of people were very irritated at the fact that Goku and Vegeta could have stomped everybody in the tournament except for Hit, right? That they could have just one-shotted everybody. And I knew that was going to be an issue going into this tournament, is whether they're going to power up certain characters, because I was already thinking in my head, okay, yeah, 17's going to get a power-up, Gohan's back in his ultimate form. And I knew that was going to be a bit weird too, because at least in the anime, they tried to show he was training with Piccolo. You remember that during the Universe 6 tournament, whereas Toyotaro hadn't drawn Gohan in ages. Like, we didn't know what he was doing in the manga version, so I knew he was probably going to pull the ultimate form out of nowhere. And that's kind of what happened. I mean, Toyotaro skipped his entire training. So, and then I knew Frieza was probably going to get a power up to compete with the, Goku and Vegeta, right? I knew all these characters were going to get power ups, and I knew they were going to have to introduce other characters. And right off the bat, I knew it was going to be the Prodigy route, because almost every character that's been introduced in the show, at least an antagonist, has been somewhat of a prodigy. I mean, even Zamasu, even though he kind of had to work to get the power, he had to go find the Dragon Balls. You know, he had to find Zuno, and then he took over Goku's body, and he had to fight Trunks. The fact of the matter is, it is mentioned he was a prodigy Kaioshin. So it's like everybody in their own right is like a prodigy in this show. And I knew they were going to have to do that here, because certain characters were going to need to get power-ups to compete with Goku and Vegeta, but that's also going to piss off the audience. You're going to have you're going to have the audience split. You're going to have the people who think Goku and Vegeta should just wipe out everybody because this is the Goku show. We've been a part of their journey, not these guys. So Goku and them, everybody makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Sorry, MJ. Please continue. Please continue, MJ.
Okay. What's up, man? But then you're gonna have the audience that split. The audience that's gonna just say, okay, this is the Goku show. This is Dragon Ball. This is Universe 7's journey. We follow these guys in their hardships. They should be able to stomp everybody. Who cares, right, about the other universes? But then you're going to have the people who are going to say, but that's boring. There's no tension. We need people who can combat these guys. So like I said, it's like a double-edged sword. You're either going to start pulling out all these power-ups and these prodigies to combat Goku and Vegeta, or Goku, you're going to waltz in with their god forms and just literally stomp everybody whose name isn't Hair, Jiren,
I see it. I see it in the exact same way, man. Like, and essentially that's what we got. I mean, I think that's what we got. I mean, I don't know how Carthu feels about it, but I feel like that's Goku and Vegeta just kind of mollywop throughout their way through this entire tournament until they got to Jiren, and he's just, as you said in so many multiple occasions, just like this narrative wall that they can't get through. And I know there's still up in the air at this point who's going to win. There's 3 people left in the tournament, considering maybe.
Yeah.
But there's 3 people left. We don't know. And I want Goku to lose. No more in any other situation. I know there's been this fan backlash over the last couple months has been like, oh, like Goku can't win everything. Well, he doesn't. I don't think he really does. But here at this critical moment, I think you have to lose with everything on the line, with how much of a wall and just powerhouse Jiren is. It would make sense. It would be good for his character. He doesn't have to learn a lesson. He doesn't have to be beaten by someone better than him. And it would create something to strive for whether or not they bring this series back in the future. There's just so much there. And
yeah, you have like, I completely lost my train of thought. God damn it. What were we talking about? Dragon Ball Super.
Dragon Ball Super, man. By the way, hello.
Hello, guys. MJ, nice to finally talk to you, man.
This is the first time. Thank you for the warning, Mark. Appreciate it, Mr.
Sorry,
Still.
you were talking. I'm sorry.
No, but like this is oh yeah, I remember what I was gonna say. Goku loses all the time in Super and original Dragon Ball. It's only really Z where he continues to do fairly well, and even then he gets his ass beat a lot. Like, to be completely honest.
Yeah. No, like he loses a fair majority of his fights in C.
Yeah.
He only
remember that time he blew himself up just to have the enemy come back stronger?
Yeah. Well, he only wins when it absolutely matters. Like, he's the only one who can win, really. So
yeah.
He beats Frieza when he's the only one who can win. He beats Majin Buu when he's the only one who can win. Even though we've all said it before, we all know it, that they legitimately had Goku save Mr. Satan and Majin Buu and all these other people instead of saving Gohan, who could have just completely mopped the floor with Kid Buu, right? So it's just the idea of what was going on there. So yeah, like I feel like with Super though, MJ, like, what are your thoughts? Like, with Super, Jiren winning because Jiren needs to win, or Goku winning because Jiren needs to feel that loss?
I'll give my thoughts on that real quick. I actually want to touch up on something that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
You were talking about Goku's potential. Now, Goku may not have the potential shown off by like the likes of Frieza, or I guess even to some extent 17, or, Caulifla, and the Evolved Universe 6 fans. But here's something to really consider. When you think of Goku and Megati no Gokui, think of it like this. All those gods who have been around for thousands of years have not mastered it yet, and Goku is gonna master it in the span of like 10 years. So think about it in that way. So
I mean, even 10 years, like 10 minutes, like seriously.
Well, you know what I mean.
Beerus is supposed to have like this immense potential. Like, Beerus is like one of the top gods of destruction. You know, I mean, he doesn't even have to train anymore. He's that strong, and like he doesn't even have it fully mastered.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. He doesn't train, but you can't make that same argument for the other gods who seem to be really good at their job. So even though Goku doesn't show off potential, like, I guess, Caulifla and them, he was trained in this show, like, a few years ago, right? In ROF? In Universe? So
yeah, he's been training a little bit on and off here and there.
So he's mastered it in the span of a few years, whereas Beerus has been around for thousands of years and has it. So I just wanted to point that out. But yeah, I agree with you. I think Jiren should win this. I've done videos on why I think he should win this. I really think
Frieza's going to take it, guys. I genuinely on the bandwagon now.
People believe that too.
More likely. It's seeming more and more likely that we're going to get the double KO Ultra Instinct, Jiren elimination, and Frieza takes it. That's what's seeming likely to me.
I hate that idea. I would have. Let me just.
I kind of want them to end on a cliffhanger, though, of some sort.
No, I agree with that. We've I think all three of us have argued that in various collaborations and
Sort of
solo
forces it
videos.
to come back.
Yeah, but I have to say, like, okay, if you guys want an idea of where we think that this could have gone afterwards, when everyone thought that there was still going to be an arc after this, and this was probably the middle of a much bigger arc, where like the recruitment arc was the first part, the build up, the middle was the whole tournament power with the whole 30 plus episodes or whatever, and then the next arc was going to completely jump off of this, then go into my videos or MJ's. MJ's was like Frieza's mind control, mine was Frieza reshaping the universe or something. I know him and I have talked about it, Carthu. I don't know whether or not you've talked about it in any real great detail in your channel, but if you have,
I talked about it after we heard Super was ending.
So
Yeah.
The thing is like after that, like all this stuff has to be taken with a huge grain of salt. Like, oh, it's going to end with a cliffhanger is what you're trying to say, other than like, oh, this is what's possible. And I agree with you. I agree. Like, I think the one thing I'm trying to get over here is that this is something I want to happen. I want Frieza to win because I think Frieza is a fantastic character, but and solely but it's too soon. Like, there's too few episodes left, and it would be too much of a headache for Frieza to win right now and end on a cliffhanger and have to kind of live with that. Like, is it coming back? Is it not? Are they trying to set this up? Are they trying to tell us something? All this other stuff. I'd rather just have a happy ending. But part of me just hates that concept. Like, I wish that there was something to grab onto here, but mostly Dragon Ball, whenever it ends, be it rushed or not rushed, is an open book ending where you take the characters, they're in a good position, and they can continue for time and time again, you know?
Yeah, I think Z's ending was a bit of a cliffhanger. And real quick, I think I mentioned this to you before, Real to Real. Real? I'll just call you Real for short. We'll go Real. Gotta use the secret code names. Like, Herms tweeted this as a joke, but it's the best thing I've ever read in my life about if Frieza wins the tournament. I have the tweet up. Frieza wins the tournament, wishes to be the Omni King. The dragon turns him into an exact duplicate, both in mind and body. Now there's 3 of them.
I do like that. Yeah,
I love it. I love it.
MJ, what are your thoughts on that? Because I already had my Jinro reactions when he first told me that.
Oh, I love it so much.
My internet cut out, so could you tell it to me one more time?
Yeah, so Frieza wins the tournament. He wishes to be the Omni King. The dragon turns him into an exact duplicate of the Omni King in body and mind, and now there's 3 of them. Herms tweeted this. Now, what's funny is there's also another line of logic to make this make sense. We got 1 Omni King in the Universe 6 tournament, 1 Omni King in the Goku Black arc. So now we need 1 Omni King for the Universe Survival arc.
That would be hilarious, but I know some people will probably be pissed.
And then like this third Zeno comes in, right? And he's like, I want to see a tournament someday. And then they just bring back all the universes that were destroyed, so that way they can have another tournament with all like 12 or whatever.
Oh,
And
that's
be like
right.
Big,
okay,
that'd be the big end. He'd be like, I want to see a tournament. What are you guys excited about?
That's... Oh my gosh.
Super's good at ends like this because this is Toriyama, right? Toriyama writes the beginning and the ends, just about. So I think this is gonna be the end. This is a Toriyama ending.
I love this so much, not only because it's so Toriyama, but I just can't wait to see the Twitter reaction that night. That's gonna be an amazing night.
Dragon Ball Super rant, every YouTuber ever.
I think
actually want that to happen now.
I think the community would explode. My
that manga woman would make a really good video about it. 11 minutes long with 20 ads.
Oh my gosh, no, let's not.
That manga woman.
Let's not.
What?
Let's,
No.
let's
Do you
not
know
get
who
into
she
that.
is? That manga woman?
Let's not get into this. I'm not going to get into this on my channel. I
don't know who that is. She doesn't exist. Just hypothetically.
I like that. Anyway, so The thing is, like, I've argued this before. Okay, this is how I want Dragon Ball Super to end. I swear, I think that this would be the cliffhanger kind of bookend thing that we have for the entire series. And I'm sure I've done a video on this, but I want to just kind of reiterate myself here on this live stream. At the end of the day, I want Goku to win because we all know that Goku's going to freaking win at this point. He's going to win. It's fine. I can get over it. But Ultra Instinct Mastered beats Jiren just barely. This is something he can't achieve again. It was based off of, perseverance and exhaustion and breaking your limits and all this other stuff. And at the end of the day, they give the wish to Goku. Goku gives the wish to Vegeta because Vegeta fought his heart out, and Vegeta wishes for all the universes to come back because he's the only character who's made any reference as to that is his specific wish. He's the only character who's made any reference to what his specific wish is, and I think it's just the easiest way out. What that
other than 17 rip in peace with the angels.
But that's never gonna that's not gonna happen anymore. Hopefully, I say hopefully with a huge grain of salt. But I think Vegeta makes his wish. They bring back everyone besides 17 and Frost because they were erased and killed like elsewhere and not really part of the universes, and then they bring back all the other 6 universes, open up the door. Zeno's not really appreciative of it, both of them. And what they do is they erase the Dragon Balls, all of them. The Earth Dragon Balls, the Namekian Dragon Balls, and the Super Dragon Balls. Or they just erase all the Dragon Balls that aren't the Super Dragon Balls, and then you open up the door. It's kind of a cliffhanger ending. It's kind of open door ending. It's kind of a nice closed book ending where you have Goku and Co. no longer able to rely on the Dragon Balls, at least on Earth or Namek or in their own universes, and they have to go out, if they're ever going to go again or anyone's ever going to look after them in another universe or Universe 6 and 7 or wherever they are, and it's going to be a chase for them. It's going to be a chase for the power like it was in Dragon Ball and the Namekian arc of Dragon Ball Z and all these other things where it felt like a good old power struggle of who has enough balls, who's going to get their wish first type of storyline. Stop, shut up.
I don't know why that. Okay.
I know I said that. I knew when I was saying it, it wasn't the right thing to say, but but in general, like, I think that's the best story option for the series going forward, and I would really like to see Goku and Co. actually have to deal with the repercussions of that. One of the things that Toriyama changed in his ending of Dragon Ball Z in recent years is that I believe he changed the dialogue to Goku and the Dragon Balls, or the Dragon Balls would protect the Earth. And then he changed the ending to like the strongest warriors on Earth would protect the Earth and not necessarily the Dragon Balls. So it would fit with the editing that actually happened in the recent years, that maybe at the end of Z, the Dragon Balls don't exist anymore because there's no reference to them.
Yeah, you're talking about the Kanzenban ending, right?
Yes.
Yes, the re-release, yeah.
I like that. I like that a lot. I think it fits.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to address something. I wanted to just hear other people's thoughts on it. What do you guys think about 17's death? Is he able to be wished back? There's no other world in the world of Void as far as we know, so we don't know where his soul would have gone. So we assume he might have just disappeared. I'm just wondering what you guys' thoughts on that, because I think he might not be wishable back.
I want MJ, because you were telling me this before we actually got on the stream. Could you elaborate? And I should reference right now that we might be getting into spoilers.
I wasn't going to talk about it, but sure, yeah, let's get into it. I've read them too.
MJ, would you explain yourself and your opinion on this, because we were talking about before we actually started streaming?
Spoilers, 3, 2, 1. All right, now no one can say shit.
Yeah, heavy spoilers here. So Herms recently tweeted out, I guess, what was it, like? It was a new preview, or another preview for the episode airing March 4th, where they're basically hyping up this episode. Like they literally say in the preview, "Don't miss this episode. Tune in and watch it."
Historic moment.
Historic moment. They're hyping it up. And one thing that it says is climax to the Tournament of Power, Universe 7, in parentheses, Son Goku, Frieza, Android number 17, versus Universe 11's Jiren. Now, right off the bat, that caught my surprise, and Herm's already made note of the fact that, well, maybe they're just talking about the previous episodes where it was Jiren versus Goku, Frieza, 17, and Vegeta. However, Herm's already mentioned 17's not in that list. So, Vegeta's not in that list. So it makes you wonder, did Hit's clone save 17? What happened here? It makes you wonder, is 17 still on the platform? Is he hiding in the rubble?
It makes you wonder, is this Dr. Rota's true power? Is this why he's called Doctor?
I don't know, bro.
Into his final moments.
I'm shocked, guys. I don't know. Like, maybe it's a typo. Maybe it's a... Because they're making it seem like tune in as we watch Universe 7 versus Universe 11 and 129, even though 17... sacrificed himself and Vegeta was eliminated last week, and there's no mention of Vegeta, but there is mention of 17.
Mm-hmm.
That's weird, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's really weird.
I don't want to take.
I hope they don't, though.
Yeah, I think it may just be a typo, or they're just trying to say. I don't know what they're trying to say.
Build hype for these like older characters that people who haven't been watching should catch up or something.
Oh yeah, unless
not like Dragon Ball Super has bad ratings though. It's like made 20 billion more yen than it was supposed to last year.
I don't know, bro. Maybe it's a typo.
I don't know if it's a typo. I feel like I that's a pretty major typo. And the thing is, that goes into answering your question, man. Like just to answer your question off the bat, I don't know MJ's thoughts on this, but I just don't think he could be wish backed, or I don't want him to. I think one of the things that Dragon Ball has had to do, or at least Super needed to do at some point before it actually ended, which was going to be in the next 3 episodes or so, they needed to have a legitimate tragedy. They needed to have something actually matter. And this is a series that has killed off Piccolo and brought him back off screen without any real emotional moments in between. And and I argued from the very get-go of this tournament that killing should not only be allowed, but they need to take out someone who can actually be taken out that we didn't see at the ending of Dragon Ball Z. And the only, I guess, 3 people that were part of that equation were Tenshinhan, 17, and Frieza. And 17 just seems like the easiest person. Someone you could build up, make it seem like he is on blue level, give him enough shine.
Oh, he was so good, too, yeah. He's such a good character, though. Like, they wrote him so well in Super.
Exactly. So
they've done such a good job. They, focused on making him lovable.
But that's the point.
Oh, I was gonna say, I think it's gonna be left ambiguous because you're gonna have people after Super. I don't think, even if they plan on wishing him back, or if dynamic Dragon Balls can even do that. Because remember, he was already wished back with the Earth Ball. So
I don't know how they wished Piccolo back. I guess they had to use the Namek ones, right?
Yeah, they had to use. They mentioned it.
They said.
Oh, they did.
They specifically said that they can use it with they can wish him back with the Namekian Dragon Balls. Like Goku,
okay.
Like that was the rare situation where Goku realized that like the Namekian Dragon Balls,
there's a limit.
Dragon Balls all have a limit, and also that the Earth Dragon Balls were very recently used to bring back Frieza, obviously, and like there's a lot of logic going around in Goku's head.
I think
Z had that issue all the time. The Dragon Balls were overused in Z, like time span wise.
Exactly.
Yeah, like there was one point where they were used like 5 months apart or something. By the official dates and everything, it didn't make sense.
Yeah, but there was some reason why that was possible. Like they didn't really wish. I remember the one time I remember them doing that. They didn't wish for all the wishes that they had a possession for. They only used like 2 out of the 3, and it allowed them to come back like 3, 4, 5, 6 months later.
Oh, right. Yeah. That was the idea.
There was reasons, but like MJ, what were you saying? I'm sorry.
Oh, I just think it's gonna be left ambiguous. It'll be like that, that whole, what is it called? like with Trunks, when Trunks went back, into the future, everyone kind of wondered what happened to Trunks. What did he do? How did he live his life? Obviously, we found out in Super when they brought him back, but I feel like when Super ends, it's gonna be left ambiguous as to whether Goku and the gang really brought back 17. As the show ends, I feel like it's gonna be him being gone. You know what I mean? Him being gone, and people will make their theories like us. Should he come back? Did he come back? You know what I mean? Can dynamic Dragon Balls even overwrite the World of Void if someone dies in it? So it's just gonna be one of those things left ambiguous. We won't know if he did come back.
I have to just jump in here. I'm looking at the comment section, and I'm not paying attention to it at all this time. Guys who are listening and sharing your thoughts and opinions, usually I try to get to every single one of your questions, but I cannot, especially when I have two other people in this call. But I want to go with Easy Legend, who says, I love Roshi, but I think they should have let him die. Now, they did kind of tease that a little bit, and I guess my question to hear from both of you guys, Carthy, I'm going to start with you. If someone had to die, as I already said, like I kind of plotted out my 3 people who could have died, but if someone's going to die, regardless of whether they could have gone back, who do you think would have been the most emotionally gratifying?
I think with the way, if we didn't have all like the build-up we had now to this point in the tournament, and all we had was the recruitment arc, Master Roshi would have been the biggest hit, because he was basically the least relevant to the series. He was the one who felt like he couldn't get stronger. He'd be a great motivator for Ten Shinhan and Krillin to get back in the game. And we also had that scene where he was like, with Karin in the tower, and Karin's like, go fight to your heart's content. And he's like, yeah, I just wanted to have this nostalgic moment training with my old master. And it was just, it felt like they were leading up to that death. And it felt like it was going to actually be a satisfying one if he died doing that Kamehameha and the extra Mafubas or whatever. But, it just didn't end up that way. I really do think Muten Roshi should have been the death there. I don't think anyone else really needed to. 17 would have been just a nice addition to the cast, in my opinion, since they barely use 18.
Mm-hmm. MJ, what about yourself?
I think Master Roshi, that's a good pick, just because of the emotional reaction it would get out of everybody, especially, Goku,
also the voice
Krillin.
actor.
Yes. Plus, you can kind of just picture the idea of, this master, kind of, I don't want to use the word lost in time, but it's just not his era, you know what I mean? And he's been called up once again to protect the world, and because there was no one else left to do, because Supreme Kai didn't do his job right. So you have people like that. And so you have Roshi had to come into this thing. If he were to have fallen, in this tournament or in this arc in general, I think would have been, people may have hated it, but I think overall it would have been a nice send-off. It's a bit weird though, because isn't he in the end of Z? So I guess he would have been brought back, right? Or no? But he's in the end, so yeah, he would have been brought back. But I think that would have been a cool thing to do. Obviously, who's not in the end of Z is 17, Frieza, and Ten Shinhan. You talked about either 17 or Ten Shinhan happening. 17 actually ended up happening, but Tien could have been cool. I mean, we talked about ideas of how, like, if 17 and Tien did perish, like, me and you did an old video months ago, bro. I don't think the tournament had started at that point yet, where the last episode.
I just want to interrupt here real quick. I'll let you get back to your point, but we did this video before we knew what was going to happen in the tournament, but after we knew that killing wasn't allowed.
Yeah. So with that being said, we did a video a long time ago talking about the idea of like 17 and Ten Shinhan perishing in this tournament, and like we thought of the idea that they would redo the End of Z episodes. Obviously, probably show either exact scenes just with the the super filter over it or something like that, and they would just add new scenes to those episodes from different perspectives. And me and you talked about the idea of them like flashing over Ten Shinhan's school, and it's Chaozu now who is the teacher of it, and then you flash over to the island, and it's like Krillin and them coming to the island, where perhaps maybe they put like a tombstone for, a stone for 17 and stuff. So just stuff like that, which we thought would be very emotional, especially for either the last or one of the last episodes of the entire show.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Yeah, like that's always something that
gotta do my man Ten Shinhan dirty. Super's been doing him dirty so much. I've only have one rant video on my channel. It's episode 106. I feel so bad for 10.
I
10
agree.
shit on.
I agree. He deserved more, and the thing is, like, yeah, like you could have easily allowed him that emotional connection. You know, these two people who didn't want to go to the Tournament of Power, but ended up deciding to go for their own personal reasons or some other reason, and sacrificing themselves not only for, I guess, the greater community, the greater universe, but also what they wanted beyond, like what they said they wanted. You know, like Tenshin Han wanted to help his dojo, his students, and all this other stuff. 17
And repair
wanted
his town.
yeah, and then 17 wanted to make sure, like, his family, they wanted his boat and to love his family and all this other stuff, whatever. But found themselves and found that potential in themselves. It would have been an easy emotional sacrifice. Tenshin Han always made a lot more sense to me than anyone else. I think I did a video on this like way long ago, like a year ago at this point, talking about before you even knew that killing wasn't allowed in the Tournament of Power, and we just knew the lineup, and this was before we even knew that Frieza was in in the lineup. We thought it was Boo, like who was going to who was going to perish, you know, like, because when the tournament arc is called the Universe Survival Arc, right, and you're expecting that, you know, if every universe is going to get erased after they fight and lose, then killing shouldn't be that big of an issue, but apparently it was because of reasons and ratings. But I think that, and I made this point, I can't remember my entire point, like I said, it was a year ago, but I think Krillin, and I know the memes abound that Krillin would have been the worst choice here, like, oh my gosh, like this guy dies all the time, right?
Give Goku Ultra Instinct by having Krillin die. I've never seen that before.
Exactly. But Krillin dying makes a lot of sense. Like, Krillin, at least in the Dragon Ball Super timeline, this guy has gone through his own PTSD situation. He has learned to step up. He's had a child. That would happen in Z, but he's kind of put himself onto two stable legs, having a job now sufficiently, and having his wife and everything else like this, going into this tournament for his own reasons, you know, like, even as he says to Goku, like, you know, if you had just told me the stakes involved and you didn't have to lie to me, I would have followed you hand and foot because, like, you were my best friend. I think you cannot underscore this. Maybe there's too many comparisons with Goku getting Super Saiyan or Goku getting Ultra Instinct for basically the same reasons. But Krillin, I always think, has been a major motive factor for Goku, and having him perish and knowing from the get-go that this is one of the weakest people on the tournament stage, but based off of everything we've seen from the entire tournament, this is one of the guys who's going to push himself beyond any other limit from any other human or anybody else competing in this tournament. We would have known that from the onset, and it would have been understandable that he goes in there, fights to his heart content, and then actually ends up dying, and it affects so many people. It affects Gohan, it affects Goku, Master Roshi, 18, even 17. I mean, imagine 17 even getting a little, like, you know, this guy's acting
well, if it was
so
17
cold
in the manga, more so.
Well, even still, like, you know, like, this guy's acted so cold to Krillin and everything else. Like, I know it's cliche to say, I know Krillin always is the butt of the joke in every single Dragon Ball interaction, but him dying, I think, him perishing in the Tournament of Power would have emotionally connected with more people than anyone else being taken out in the entire series. I mean, even Frieza. Like, what would Frieza think? Like this is someone he impaled, someone he blew up. Like would he relish in it? Would he kind of be mad about it? Like, I mean, there's a lot of connection there. This guy has been involved and has fingers into every legitimate thing that's happened in all of Dragon Ball, and that's something you really can't ignore. And one of the reasons they should have done it, outside of just the legitimate joke of it all.
No, yeah, I agree with that.
Okay.
What?
Well, it also makes sense that from the perspective that Toriyama actually has said that the reason Goku has a best friend is so that he could kill him and use him as a motivator. And he's done that twice already.
I had heard that.
Tambourine.
Makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. So you have against Tambourine and you have against Frieza. I don't know if it would be good the third time around, though they do say third time's the charm. I think it was funny to have Krillin eliminated first, but like honestly, I really don't think anyone other than 17 post his development and Roshi could have been good characters to kill off. I think Ten Shinhan's just been so relegated to the side at this point, even by Toriyama himself and like the Buu arc and stuff, until like he has cool moments here and there, which is what I like about Ten Shinhan. He just has random cool moments, but I didn't even get that really.
But did 17? Like I'll ask both of you, starting with MJ. But did 17 deserve the shine that he got? I mean, I know a lot of people love 17 from Z, but I think Super, as opposed to everything else, made 17 one of the best people in this series. Made him a star. What are your thoughts?
I think it's fine. I think some people have issues with it, but I think what people have to realize is that I don't think no matter what this tournament did, like this tournament could have had Piccolo lose to a bug. Oh wait, they did. Anyways, they could have had this tournament humiliate Piccolo, Gohan, or anybody like that, or even Krillin. But the fact of the matter is, Krillin, Piccolo, Gohan, these are characters who are already established within the series. They're iconic characters, especially Gohan and Piccolo. Krillin too for the memes. These are characters that are looked as some of the most recognizable characters from the series. So no matter what the tournament did to them, I don't think it would affect their overall rep, their image, the fact that people like them and love them because they've already did so much in the previous series. Whereas with 17 on the team had somewhat, he was relevant, I guess, in the Z arc. I mean, he obviously didn't last as long as his sister, but he had one good fight and then he was beaten down and absorbed. And I'm not going to pretend he didn't have any cool lines, but they were there. He just wasn't as relevant as 18 was, obviously, for the Krillin connection. But anyways, he was brought back and they made him into a freaking star. I think, like I told you before, Mark, either off air or on an actual video, people, when they look back at Super, they're going to say, man, 17 is one of my favorite characters, or 17 is my favorite character of the series. And when you go to the Facebook post and the Instagram stuff, I know people don't visit those sites often, but when you do go, you may start seeing people mention in their top 3 or top 4, Vegeta, Goku, 17, Gohan. I think this show really did put the rocket up his butt and send him to the moon. That's a wrestling saying, if you get it. But basically, they pushed him to the moon and they made him a megastar. And I think that's their intention. I'm not sure how Toyotaro's gonna handle it, but Toei really did push this guy. He lasted longer than Gohan did, so I think it was all right. I mean, they legitimately made a new top character, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Carthy, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I just like 17 more in Super. I think he's grown a lot. We don't know why he's grown as much, but we assume why he's grown. I mean, a lot of people like that. I know MJ hates the manga, but in the manga you have that scene that 17 could hear everything inside of Cell, which is weird. But if he heard 16 sacrifice, and that's why he became a park ranger, which I really hope he explains. I would really like that to be the reason. Then you see reason to grow, and then he gets this family, and he has these animals that he cares for, and his legacy of his dead friend, and Krillin, who he feels indebted to, and this guy just keeps growing and growing with layers and layers, and he's just so cool and calm and collected, as opposed to like this sociopath that you see in the Future Trunks timeline. It's just which is like, well, I think it really shows like, oh my god, this is what he should be. If Dr. Gero really didn't poison him to the point that, that he was uncontrolled, unrestrained 17 with nothing to lose, basically. Mm-hmm. And this is like the exact opposite of that. So we really feel like, oh man, we really saw this guy grow, even though we didn't see this guy grow. We feel like we did, but we didn't see it. And that's why he has like such a weight on us. And he's cool. I mean, he's just a cool dude. He's a well-written character, to be honest.
I like him. I really do. And I think that 17 in Super has been pushed so heavily. And no one is ever going to sit here and convince me. I don't care if the writers and Toriyama himself gets a freaking translator or learns English, or I learn Japanese to just explain to me that no, I really love 17 and I wrote him in here because I wanted to make the best of his character, instead of, no, what you did here with him is you gave him untold amount of shine in the recruitment arc and throughout the Tournament of Power, so it would mean something when you actually had to sacrifice a character. And the one character that you sacrificed was the easiest character of the entire canon that you could.
I agree,
and that's what it is. And that's not a bad thing though. Like,
I think the only one easier would have been Frieza, actually.
No, Frieza would have been a bad choice. Like, I agree with you, the shock factor here, but Frieza still sells a lot.
Oh,
like,
yeah, but I mean easier from an us, having connections to things perspective. I get it that Frieza's like this big bad, but like after the Resurrection of F arc, which we don't talk about because Super starts at the Universe 6 arc, and then you have, this sort of, bad history that was preceded by good history of Frieza. And people, when he was first announced for the tournament, were kind of sick of him. I mean, people kind of like him now, but he's also been a bit of a bitch the whole tournament. So, like, would we be so sad to see him go? Not really. And I think that's why they didn't do it. But I think that would have been easier, if that makes sense.
MJ, you want to go off on Frieza?
I think it would have been an easy choice to get rid of him, since we know he's not in the end of Z. But
yep.
I mean, obviously,
I don't see the point in keeping them.
Yeah, majority of people probably wouldn't have cared, but I probably would have cared to some extent, because I did like the showcasing they did in 94 and 95, specifically 95. I think episode 95 is one of the best episodes in all of Dragon Ball, even
Completely agree.
People don't really bring it up that much, but I think it is. And with that being said, possibly, however, though, it probably would have felt like a waste, because a lot of people were already kind of just, what about Boo? You know what I mean? So if they got rid of him in the tournament, people probably would have been even more pissed, I would think, because we didn't really see much of him, until 121, right? With Ani Raza, that's when he jumped into the actual fight. So yeah, I think people probably would have been actually pissed, to be honest.
I mean, the guy, like, I feel like, I know that there's still episodes left, but like I said earlier, there's like 3 episodes left. Like,
by the way, we did just get the 2 provisional titles for the final 2 episodes of Super. I just wanted to let you know, just in case you wanted to talk about it.
We already said spoilers, so throw away. I haven't seen.
Okay.
MJ, you're fine with this, right?
Yeah, right. It's just
yeah,
titles.
I'm fine with it.
Anyone who thinks a title is a spoiler just shouldn't be on the internet.
All right, Carson, you say episode 130. I'll say 131.
Got it. Dragon Ball Super, episode 130, airing March 18th. An unprecedented Super Showdown.
I cannot do that voice. I'll just do it in my regular voice. Let me get here.
How
okay.
I do it in videos.
All right. Dragon Ball Super, episode 131. Goku, until the day we meet again.
Oh, Goku's gonna die.
What?
What? No, that's the same ending. Oh.
I was joking, but okay. What are your O's?
What? No. Because the end of GT. I mean, there's that theory that he dies, but either way, the end of GT has the same title.
Yeah.
So what if they end with a cliffhanger like that?
What if Universe 7 gets erased?
What if Goku flies off on Super Shenron?
That would be so sad, bro. Like, if they're all on the stage, everyone's congratulating themselves and trying their best. Goku's just kind of like in awe. Just remember, I sent you that picture, Mark. Remember? With Goku, with his hands over his knees, just looking down but smiling at the same time. And then, Goku looks at the screen until we meet again. Squeesh.
Just like completely cut to black, and like in the old like television tube ways where it's like zoom, kind of shrinks.
Man, people will be pissed if that happened.
I would honestly love Universe 7 to be erased as like the end of Z. I always theorized, by the way, that like the way Goku would get his new form, before we knew it was called Ultra Instinct, but I was still calling it that was going to be that ability. like before we knew that, I was like saying that what's going to happen is everyone gets eliminated, and the Omni Kings only squish everyone that isn't Goku from Universe 7 because they say, "You're my friend. We want to do this again sometime, and we want to see you fight again." And then Goku gets pissed, new transformation, and he goes back into the ring and says, "I want to fight for the Dragon Balls and not for my universe right now." I thought that would be the way they handled it. I was actually surprised when they didn't. I felt like that would have more emotional weight than even just killing 17.
That would have been kind of cool. Like,
so fanfic.
well, yeah, maybe, but I really think that, you know, in all honesty, the transformations I think have gotten a little out of hand in Super. This is, I think someone said in a recent video I did, this is like the like 18th. Like if you really break it down, it's like 13, 15, 16, like some type of in the teen transformations that we've had in 131 episodes.
It has to be about 16. I did the count the other day. When you combine all the actual Super Saiyan forms, and if you actually want to count Ultra Instinct as a form, I think
Two
it's
forms.
Like it's about.
Nah, you count it.
It's actually just Ultra Instinct. There's no other name for it. It's just Ultra Instinct.
Do you count? You don't count Super Saiyans grade 1 through 4 as different forms. So you wouldn't count Ultra Instinct, basically grade 1 and grade 2 as.
Oh, I was gonna say, I remember counting. There's about 7, I think, in Z, and either 7 or 8 in Super. So it's about like 16 altogether.
Well, it depends. It depends on how you like. So yeah, like Super Saiyan.
Wait, what are you counting?
Saiyans transformations are one thing. So you got like what? You got like Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Blue, Super Saiyan Kaioken times 20.
That doesn't count, right?
Well, it's
they treat it as one. But it's technicalities here. It's whatever you actually want to count.
I always argue that that's like counting Kamehameha with Super Saiyan Blue.
Well,
I don't know. It's because it's technique.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but it is still something that like push out like more power.
The merch.
It's no, it is something to push out like more power. So like it's kind of a transformation. So it's like, okay, so like those are 3, and then you have
we have Beyond
Rage, Super Saiyan Rage, Super Saiyan Berserk, Super Saiyan Rose. So that's 6. You have what?
Beyond Blue.
Blue.
That's
7. It's like 7, 8, 9, like around there.
7. That's 7. You got Golden Frieza. You have God Topo. You have
Ultimate Gohan.
Berserk. Ultimate Gohan doesn't really count because it was.
There's 2 Berserk forms too. I think those would be 2 different forms. The way they're presented.
It's perfected.
I guess.
But I understand. Like so.
Frieza,
you could count if you so want. You can count Rebrand's transformations.
No, screw Ribian.
Do Blue's absorptions count as forms because it changes of appearance?
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah, I would say so. We call
that's too much though, because if you start factoring in the villains, dude, that's like because
the villains take forever.
Goku's merge them. Yeah, forget that shit.
Merge Zamasu like completely.
And then Cell has 3 different forms, or 4 actually.
Or fusions different forms.
Too many to count. Way too many to count.
It's still good.
I just hope in the future we get more forms like Ultra Instinct, a form that does something as opposed to just being raw power. I'd love that. I'd love more of that.
But that was my biggest. That's my biggest fan wish when we got into the very beginning of Dragon Ball Super, and I remember doing videos about this, saying that the one thing I want is Dragon Ball Super to focus not so much on power and scaling and all these other ridiculous forms that people can get from their pure rage or tranquility or anything. I want people to get transformations at this point through ridiculous means. Like, just to kind of preface this, like, you had fusion, which was done by dance or earring, basically throughout Dragon Ball, the end of Dragon Ball Z, and then you had Ultimate Gohan that was gotten through the Elder Kai's ritual. I wanted Super Saiyan God to be like a ritual too, because that was kind of grandiose. Let's figure out a different way to give people transformations. And what Super did, at least in my opinion, that was a bad decision, was like, hey, why don't we just give people ridiculous transformations, not based on anything. Like,
To be fair, the only people that get those aren't main characters. They're usually side characters. It's Future Trunks is sort of a main character, but it depends. Like, because he's only in for one arc. You know, he's a main character in his arc, but otherwise not.
But that's my point. Is like, I wanted like the transformations. Look, people have said this from the very beginning of Dragon Ball Super. Is look, the Super Saiyan God ritual for Dragon Ball Super was anticlimactic. It was like really big and spectacular, but it was simply just there to eat up time, and it was just kind of a bore, whatever. I personally felt pretty touched by it. You know, the changing of the season, the changing of the weather, the Super Saiyan Videl. Like, there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
there I think
the production was just better, man. If the production, if they had more production time, Anime AJ, go check them out. If they had more production,
I don't care. Like, I don't care what I have seen. I have seen Anime AJ's description of it. No, I'm not saying that that ruins or makes it better for me. I'm just saying that conceptually, I like.
Oh yeah, I love it conceptually. Love it,
and that's no one's ever going to take that away from me. And the thing is like, I thought at that point is like, man, if every transformation right now is just crazy, like I was sitting there actually excited at the end of the day, way back in 2015, saying like, I cannot wait to see what they decide to do with the future of Dragon Ball Super, like new transformations and everything. If they decide to go like, we can no longer transform just doing like being angry or getting some feeling tingles in our back or anything else like they decided to do, but you have to kind of gang together, work together, do these rituals, kind of put yourself out there and allow yourself to gain strength by the people you love or the people around you, the people who are willing to help you, as Dragon Ball Super Battle of God or Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods made it out to be. You might not like it, but this is the best way that you're going to be able to fight the situations around you. That would have been perfect in my opinion.
I like it conceptually. I definitely do. It's just, I don't think we should do that every time. I did always like the idea of God being only attainable through ritual, though now it's not that. But like the idea of every time, we get a new form, we need some sort of like connection. I think the way they handled this third time, believe it or not, that we're seeing Ultra Instinct come back is really good, because it has this, theological narrative, not theological, ideological narrative, where like it's trust versus strength. What is the stronger force in the universes, and it feels like that form is embodying that trust, though the form itself does not stem from it, but Goku's being able to access it, which I think he accessed it on purpose and through his own efforts that time, not through accident. Just sort of culminates it.
That's an interesting perspective. MJ there? Yeah.
I'm here.
My recent video was a battle of ideologies for that last episode, because that's what I watched the entire episode as, just sort of this battle of characters, fighting on their own ideological standpoints, and how Goku is actually learning off of Vegeta's ideologies and understanding that this is what they fight for, and realizing that people put their goddamn trust in him.
Yeah, and the same thing with Jiren, because his philosophy differs from Vegeta's and Goku's.
Yeah. That's exactly it. It's a complete battle of ideology, strength versus trust. What is the stronger force?
But the sad thing about that, if you take it at that level, you're like, oh man, like love wasn't enough to beat these guys, and that kind of sucks.
Well, yeah, but their love was like stick love, with like they're waving their special toys, let's call them, because Ribrian needs that. Ribrian be needing that. All right.
Oh gosh. Oh man.
Can I get some fan art right now? Hold on.
No, let's not do that. No.
Did I soil your channel? I'm so sorry.
No. I think of 100 times worse that I don't actually say on this channel. So that's really.
Oh, I don't say it on my own. I just say it on other people's.
Oh, that's understandable. But
And Twitter.
I think definitely Twitter if you want like
Twitter.
us at our raw
If you want someone who really knows how to beat his meat, follow MJXTV on Twitter.
Professional meat eater.
Professional. Dude has
Professional.
a
Kenzairo
tenderizer
Knight.
the size of
Special
Kentucky.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. How did this go so far? Anyway,
My wife Khalifa.
I already went on a rant saying that Khalifa is the best character. I mean, outside of Hit or most other characters introduced in the whole. I will go back to that point though, and I want to say that I definitely believe
Khalifa.
I definitely believe that Topo is also a really good character, and they did him dirty. I think if you look at it like in a real character way, like a character.
Can we
sense of-
combine Topo from the manga and the anime?
You can do whatever you want. I'm just saying.
Preliminary arc Topo in the manga is really better than preliminary arc Topo in the anime. Give that our Topo in the anime that.
I thought he was boring. He seemed like a knockoff of Jiren, to be honest.
You think?
Like mean.
I thought he seemed like, more of this guy who's like, wanting power, sort of like Goku. He felt more like a Goku than Jiren does in the manga. Because Jiren feels different to me.
Yeah, it's gonna be weird because once I don't know if he plans on transforming in the manga, if that was like a Toei thing or something.
But, yeah, we never know. I don't think we'll see Beyond Blue in the manga, to be honest.
I don't think so either because we can talk about that later.
Master.
But the one thing about Topo is that at least one of the reasons why I like the transformation was because why he was so different when he transformed from Topo to that Topo. But in the manga, if he's already just serious, I think that kind of takes away the intimidation of him being the Topo that he transforms into, Hakaishin Topo. I mean, we'll see how they handle it, but we don't even know if that's going to be in there or not. For all we know, it may not even be a form. It just may be like a power-up. You know what I mean? It
seemed like it was just a power-up. Like, it seemed like something that Gods of Destruction just have to do.
Mm-hmm. Sort of. The anime, they changed his entire body shape, gave him like a tattoo. His skin color, everything changed.
Yeah, but if you notice, the tattoo's actually the same symbols that you see on the Hakaishin clothes. Yeah, so it's very possible. By the way, that rock in Jiren, I hate to sidetrack, in Jiren's flashback, that rock that you see with the diamond on it, that looks like a god symbol. Do you think like a god of destruction like sealed Jiren's master away, like old Kai was sealed away in the Z-Sword?
Probably not, but
yeah. It's like worth a shot. I've been trying to analyze that thing for so long, and I can't pull anything really out of it other than like that.
I think that
still made a video on it.
Well, that's good. I think that's totally okay. Like whatever you think.
Yeah.
There's somebody out
whatever.
there. There's somebody out there who agrees with you. I think that when it comes to Beerus putting Elder Kai in the Z sword and shoving him in the rock, like I love that character trait. I love that backstory for Beerus because
it's so smart.
Yeah, because Beerus is that type of like bad boy. Like him and Champa always seem like the two Gods of Destruction who just like did not give two single shits about like one thing or another. They didn't care.
It shows how smart Beerus is too, right? Like, old Kai, you really want to do this? I can't kill you, but I can seal you in this sword.
Plus
and then he seals him.
Plus, it also kind of guarantees his life, right? If no one,
he can't seal him. Yeah. So but then obviously it shows too that the God of Destruction Kaioshin bond can transcend different Kaioshins, like if they're just upgraded without the other one dying, which is good to know.
Wait, actually, that makes me wonder. Okay, so what happens, right, in the Tournament of Power? And I think we've been going on for a long time. This will probably be the last question, but I want both of y'all's opinions. What happens if Topo transforms into God of Destruction, right? God of Destruction, Topo, and Frieza is just like, because as MJ mentioned earlier, Frieza just knows everything, right? So Frieza knows everything about everything in the universe. So like Topo turns into God of Destruction. Frieza's just like, points his death beam at the stands and just kills the Kai, like,
Bruh.
like kills the Kai of Universe 11, and him.
I
And
don't know if that
Belmont
would
just,
work.
like,
I don't think that's
disappear.
how it works.
I'm not saying it does.
Yeah, but it'd be interesting.
Like, that would have been savage. Like, I wouldn't have worked, but I just wanted to hear your thoughts.
Per Vermouth, he would have been like, I ain't doing nothing to you, man. And he just disintegrates or like dies off.
Well, back to McDonald's.
Would it be considered killing because he didn't kill anyone on the stand? Like, they technically killed themselves. I like, it wouldn't have happened. Obviously, this wouldn't have happened. It's not in a million years, but
Oh, of course not. But I like the idea. I like the idea of Frieza being. What I really like the idea of is Frieza being so confident that it will work, and then it not working, and then Frieza getting erased by Zeno. Zeno's like, "What? What just happened? No, squish."
oh man, but that would be a total waste of Frieza because of what you said.
Frieza's been Krillin this whole tournament.
No.
He had a couple of good moments in the beginning against fodder, and then when people actually tough started to fight him, he went like a little bitch.
A lot of people want him to die, man. A lot of people bring up the fact that it always is like he's trying to jump out those bleachers to help. A lot of people want him just to jump out and help Goku and get erased, and there you go.
Oh my god.
That would be
Yeah,
cool.
no.
Like, I will say though, I thought that would be a great place for 17 to get erased. Like, simply jump off the bleachers to go help.
Oh yeah, you were
Gohan.
telling me about this, yeah.
Yeah, I did. Like, jump off the bleachers to go help Gohan, right, or something, and like, Gohan needed
17's more valuable though. That's what you miscalculated. You didn't do that Toei math.
I guess I didn't. I don't have the merchandise numbers in front of me.
No.
But
17 shirt will sell millions.
But exactly. And
I would literally buy one if I saw one. This is not without a doubt. I would have one.
I could get behind. Like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, MJ, what are your thoughts? Like, if Frieza were to do that, like, gets eliminated and then jumps off the stands to go help Goku, and they somewhat kind of built that up with Frost getting eliminated because they showcase that the Frieza type characters are willing to kind of usurp the rules, or at least kind of bend the rules to their own ability, like trying to attack within the ring or any of the other stuff that shoots in the erased. And Frieza would know that this would get him erased, but still doing it to help Goku or something else like that. Do you think it would be a satisfying conclusion to Frieza, or do you think, like, man, they did him dirty?
I think that just depends on pure perspective. A lot of people have different ideas about what Frieza's character actually is. I can see it happening just due to the fact that it's already been kind of implied, if not flat out told to us, that Frieza does respect Goku. I mean, it depends on what the situation is, but if he were to have jumped off to try to help Goku, or at least be a distraction, right? And then that, I guess, causes him to get erased. I guess if something like that happened, I'd be all right with it, but I could actually see that ruffling some people's feathers because a lot of people have this idea that Frieza should not help Goku whatsoever. He should be always planning to destroy the Saiyans. He should always be doing this. But like I said, that it just kind of goes up to like what your interpretation of Frieza actually is, especially now. But one thing that I think people can't deny is that Frieza right now on this arc is way different from the Frieza on Namek, and even Frieza during the Mecha Frieza saga, something like that.
Even ROF, he's different.
ROF, he's different. He's more conniving, but he still had that respect for Goku in ROF. So
Yeah, you're right.
You get my point. He's just very different now compared to what he was in Namek, and a lot of people still hold him to that Namek ideology that I hate monkeys, always plotting to kill the Saiyans each and every way he can, which he still kind of does. You know what I mean? He teased it a bit, but I would have been alright with it.
Carthy?
Yeah, I was thinking while we were talking about this that what if I think this would have happened if we had like a 3-episode fight with Jiren or something, where as Jiren's attacking Goku, because I would say he wouldn't be an Ultra Instinct yet, as he's getting pummeled, and he's about every attack that's about to eliminate him, someone from the stands on Universe 7's team jumps in front of the attack, and it's just this chain of the universe sacrificing themselves and putting their final trust in Goku. Like literally, like, you know, Tenshinhan jumps on and he takes the same like gut punch like he took from Gohan, and he's like, Goku, and then gets erased, right? And then, you know, Krillin jumps on and he takes a ki blast to the face and gets erased by Zeno, and like, you know, Vegeta eventually gets in there, Kakaroto, and gets erased, you know, Goku-san, and gets erased, you know.
Goku-san.
Son, Goku-san. That's how he said it in the stupid overhead. I don't know why they didn't re-record that. He sounds so happy.
Goku-san.
Dosan. Dosan. Like they all jump in one at a time and get like slowly erased. And it's just like this fuel getting like Goku just the seconds to breathe and enough time to like figure out this Ultra Instinct thing. Like even if he was in not perfected UI, I would have seen this happening, but I don't see it happening now.
Oh, of course not. Of course not now.
But that would have been like so amazing. Everyone like throwing themselves in, knowing they would get erased right away. And even you could even sort of have Beerus do it too. You know, jump in and get erased. You know,
at some
like
point,
he tries, like Beerus Hakai's one of Jiren's attack, or tries to, because Jiren should be stronger than him. And then Beerus gets erased by Zeno with like a smirk on his face. I don't know. That stuff sounds so cool to me. I just love the idea of characters sacrificing themselves. It's just so good.
It's so corny, but I like it.
Oh, it is, but it's so good. You know this is a corny anime. You know it's Dragon Ball. It's gotta happen. It's Toriyama. He pulls from everything that's corny.
Yeah, I really do like it. It's something I would like to see at some point. We'll never get it. But...
Can I get fan manga? Oh, right. Toyotaro's already making one. Right.
No,
I like Toyotaro's manga, I'd like to say.
Yeah, of course. But anyway, guys, we're going on for like an hour and a half here. I am going to sign off. I want everyone to go down. I'm going to add in the description section below the links to MJ and Carthu's channel. Please make sure to go check them out if you haven't already. It's late at night. I hope everyone's having a fantastic day. Thank you guys for joining me. I know it's late, and I kind of put this both on both of y'all, but
thanks for bringing me the call. I wasn't expecting to be on at all. I was like debating people in the comments.
I appreciate both of y'all. So I'm gonna end it there. Hope everyone's having a fantastic day. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell over by the subscriber button. Notifies you every single time I upload or live stream or whatever. Have a good day, everybody.